In this video, I explain or try to explain the story of Golden Freddy or Fredbear, what he stands for and symbolizes. I have probably missed certain story elements, or there might be stuff that I got wrong, so please don't be mad at me. Also, please consider subscribing, it helps me out more than you know. Please enjoy the video. Golden Freddy occupies a uniquely unsettling position in the lore of Five Nights at Freddy, because from the very beginning, he is presented as something that does not fully belong to the physical world of animatronics, nor entirely to the supernatural rules that govern the other haunted characters. Unlike Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, or Foxy, Golden Freddy does not walk the halls, follow predictable attack patterns, or even appear consistently in the same form, instead materializing suddenly as a slumped, lifeless suit or as a distorted head filling the screen before vanishing without explanation. This inconsistent existence immediately frames Golden Freddy as a symbol rather than a standard character, suggesting that he represents a deeper layer of the story, one rooted in memory, guilt, and the consequences of hidden crimes. His broken posture and unused appearance imply that he was never meant to function like the other mascots, reinforcing the idea that he is tied to an early and particularly significant tragedy within the restaurant's history, possibly one that predates the more documented disappearances. As the story of Five Nights at Freddy's expands, Golden Freddy becomes increasingly associated with the idea of a spirit whose anger is more focused and personal than that of the other haunted animatronics. While the others are often interpreted as confused or instinct-driven, Golden Freddy's behavior feels intentional, as if he recognizes the player not merely as a night guard, but as a stand-in for someone who bears responsibility for past actions. This interpretation gains strength through the recurring implication that Golden Freddy is linked to a child named Cassidy, whose soul refuses to rest, and whose presence is marked by an unusual level of awareness. In some interpretations, Golden Freddy is not even inhabited by a single soul, but by multiple spirits, which would explain his instability and the way he seems to flicker between forms and states of being. This fractured identity reflects the fragmented truth of the crimes themselves, suggesting that the past has been buried so deeply and dishonestly that it can no longer present itself in a clean, singular way. Golden Freddy's role evolves further when considering how he interacts with the boundaries of the game world itself. His appearances often disrupt gameplay, crash systems, or ignore established rules, which symbolically places him outside the normal structure of reality. This meta-level intrusion suggests that Golden Freddy is not just haunting a building, but haunting the narrative, forcing the truth to surface regardless of how much it is suppressed. In later interpretations of the story, Golden Freddy becomes closely associated with the idea of eternal consequence, especially through the concept of trapping the primary antagonist in an unending cycle of suffering. Rather than seeking freedom like other spirits, Golden Freddy seems driven by the need to ensure that what was done is never forgotten or forgiven, turning him into a representation of justice twisted by pain and unresolved grief. The phrase often connected to Golden Freddy, interpreted as the one you should not have killed, further elevates his importance by implying that this particular victim carries more narrative weight than the others. This does not diminish the suffering of the other children, but instead emphasizes that Golden Freddy represents the breaking point, the moment where cruelty crossed into something irredeemable. His golden coloration, traditionally associated with value, reward, or purity, becomes deeply ironic in this context, symbolizing a life that should have been cherished but was instead destroyed. Rather than shining as a symbol of success, the gold becomes a reminder of how something precious was corrupted beyond repair, leaving behind only anger and memory. Ultimately, Golden Freddy endures as one of the most powerful figures in Five Nights at Freddy, because he is intentionally unresolved, resisting definitive answers and clear timelines. He embodies the idea that some wrongs cannot simply be explained away or neatly concluded, and that the past, when ignored, has the power to distort the present and future alike. Golden Freddy is less a character to be defeated and more a presence to be reckoned with, a manifestation of consequences that linger indefinitely. His lore resonates precisely because it remains fragmented and haunting, mirroring the emotional reality of loss, injustice, and the refusal of certain wounds to ever fully heal. Golden Freddy's identity becomes even more significant when examined through the lens of Fredbear, the original mascot tied to the earliest era of the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline, because this connection anchors Golden Freddy not only to supernatural mystery, but also to the very foundation of the franchise's tragedies. Fredbear represents the beginning, the first friendly face of the brand, associated with Fredbear's family diner, a place meant to symbolize innocence, entertainment, and childhood joy. When Golden Freddy is understood as a broken, ghostly version of Fredbear, his unsettling presence takes on deeper meaning, as it suggests that the corruption and violence at the heart of the story did not emerge later but were embedded at the very start. The visual similarities between Golden Freddy and Fredbear, including the golden coloration and design choices, reinforce the idea that Golden Freddy is not merely another variant of Freddy Fazbear, but rather a decayed echo of the original mascot, one that carries the weight of the first and most devastating mistakes. This connection becomes even more disturbing when considering Fredbear's role in one of the most pivotal tragedies in the lore, often associated with the infamous bite incident. Fredbear, once a symbol of joy, becomes a source of irreversible trauma, marking the moment when playful entertainment crossed into real harm. If Golden Freddy is the haunted remnant of Fredbear, then his existence can be interpreted as the embodiment of that moment frozen in time, a constant reminder that the foundation of the entire franchise was built on suffering rather than innocence. Golden Freddy's immobility and lifeless posture resemble an abandoned costume rather than a functioning animatronic, which aligns with the idea that Fredbear was retired, hidden away, or deliberately forgotten after the incident. Yet forgetting does not erase consequences, and Golden Freddy's supernatural appearances suggest that the past refuses to remain buried, no matter how deeply it is suppressed. Golden Freddy's behavior also reflects this Fredbear origin in how he feels more like a memory than a physical being. Just as Fredbear exists largely in flashbacks, minigames, and fragmented recollections, Golden Freddy appears unpredictably, often without explanation, as if he is a manifestation of unresolved guilt rather than a character bound by time and space. This reinforces the idea that Golden Freddy is not walking the halls of a restaurant in a literal sense, but instead haunting the legacy of Fredbear itself. The diner, the mascots, and the early promises of joy are all stained by what occurred there, and Golden Freddy becomes the living reminder of that stain. His silence is especially powerful, as it mirrors how the truth about Fredbear and the earliest tragedies was never openly acknowledged, only hinted at through distorted memories and hidden details. When viewed through this perspective, Golden Freddy's intense focus on punishment and remembrance gains clearer motivation. As Fredbear, he represents the origin of everything that went wrong, making him uniquely positioned to embody ultimate consequence. The idea that Golden Freddy is the one who ensures eternal suffering for the antagonist aligns with this, because the first crime is often the most defining, the moment that sets all others into motion. By tying Golden Freddy to Fredbear, the story suggests that you cannot escape the beginning, no matter how many layers of branding, reboots, or new mascots are added on top. The golden suit becomes a relic of a past that was never properly resolved, and the spirit within it refuses to move on until the truth is fully faced. In the end, Golden Freddy being Fredbear transforms him from a mysterious side character into the emotional and thematic core of Five Nights at Freddy's. He is the ghost of the beginning, the shadow cast by the very first smile that turned into tragedy. His existence reminds the audience that every horror that follows is rooted in that original sin, and that the past, especially when it involves broken innocence, does not fade quietly. Golden Freddy endures because Fredbear endures, not as a mascot, but as a memory that refuses to die, ensuring that the story remains haunted by where it all began. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Golden Freddy. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Also leave a comment if I got something wrong or leave your own theories about him. Thanks for watching.